Hey, let me ask you something right off the bat. Why is it that as soon as a young, elite talent puts on a Cowboys uniform, the national media goes into full-on attack mode? Seriously, George Pickens was once considered one of the most explosive, high-upside wideouts in the league. Now that he's a Cowboy, all of a sudden he's a problem. A headache. A locker room cancer? Really? You and I both know what this is. We've seen this play out before. It's the same tired script. Anytime the Dallas Cowboys make a bold move, the media shifts the spotlight, not to highlight the talent, but to question the character. And let's not act brand new here. Pickens has always played with fire. He's competitive, he's emotional, he wants to win. That's exactly what made fans and scouts fall in love with him in the first place. But now that energy is being spun as toxic? Come on, man. You didn't hear this kind of talk when he was catching deep balls in Pittsburgh. But now he's in Dallas and, suddenly he's being painted as some sort of liability. Nah, we're not going for that. Not on this channel. So here's what we're gonna do today. We're going to push past all the noise, the fake concern, and the lazy narratives. We're going to break down exactly why this George Pickens move might be the piece that turns the Cowboys' offense into an absolute nightmare for defenses around the league. And you better believe we're going to defend our guy along the way. Real quick, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe George Pickens is a locker room problem, or is this just another media overreaction because he's a Cowboy now? Let's get a vote going. And now, let's talk football, real football. Because what George Pickens and this Dallas offense are about to do, it's going to shock a lot of people. All right, now that we've called out the media's nonsense, let's remind everyone who George Pickens really is on the field. Because trust me, they're forgetting. This dude is a walking highlight reel. We're talking about a receiver with elite body control, a massive catch radius, and that rare ability to turn a 50-50 ball into an 80-20 in his favor. And yeah, maybe he's not catching 10 balls a game yet, but that's not on him. That's on a Steelers offense that, let's be honest, was holding him back. Go look at the tape. Go look at those sideline toe taps, the contested grabs, the deep routes where he just snatches the ball out of the air like it was meant for him the whole time. He's got that natural go-get-it mentality. You can't coach that. And even better, he plays angry. He plays with edge. And for the Cowboys, that's exactly what this receiver room has been missing. Now imagine this. You line up CeeDee Lamb in the slot, Brandon Cooks on one side, and George Pickens on the other. You've got three legit threats with totally different skill sets. And Pickens, he's the enforcer, the physical outside guy who can win on back shoulders, punish corners, and make those tough grabs over the middle when you need a first down. That's not just helpful, it's dangerous. But here's the kicker. The media is acting like this move would break the Cowboys' chemistry, like Dak can't handle a big personality. Let me tell you something. Dak thrives with passionate receivers. He's not afraid of personalities. He commands the locker room, and guys respect that. So why wouldn't you want to give your quarterback a weapon like George Pickens? Let's throw it out to you. If Pickens lands in Dallas, what role should he play? WR2 on the boundary, red zone threat, or the tone setter who brings toughness to the entire offense? Tell me in the comments, and we'll roll into what this would mean for the Cowboys' offense as a whole. So here's the real question. Why should the Cowboys go after George Pickens right now? Because let's face it, this offense isn't as close to elite as some folks want to believe. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is a superstar. No argument there. But beyond him, things get murky real fast. Brandon Cooks is solid, but he's not striking fear into defenses every week. Michael Gallup? Gone. And Jalen Tolbert, while promising, is still unproven in a high-volume role. That leaves Dallas one twisted ankle or one double team away from serious problems. Enter George Pickens. He's not just another body in the room, he's a legitimate mismatch creator, someone who demands defensive attention and creates space for everyone else. You want to keep defenses honest? Put Pickens on the boundary. That forces safeties to stay back. That opens up the middle for CeeDee. That gives Jake Ferguson more room to operate, and that gives Dak a clean read when things get tight. Think about how many times last season the Cowboys stalled in the red zone or on 3rd and long. You really think a 6'3" wideout who high points everything wouldn't help? And don't forget, Pickens is still cheap. He's on a rookie contract. That's a huge advantage. You're not blowing up your cap to get him. You're investing in a young player with WR1 upside who just needs the right system and a quarterback who trusts him. And guess what? Dak is that guy. I know some fans are hesitant, but is he a fit? What if he brings drama? Look, we've seen the Cowboys bring in big personalities before. Some worked, some didn't. But you can't win playing scared. And if the front office truly believes this is a championship window, then you make bold moves. You don't settle for almost. So let me ask you, would George Pickens be the missing piece to take this offense over the top? Or would you rather trust the current group and hope someone breaks out? Drop your take below. Up next, let's talk about how a trade could actually happen and what it might cost. All right, so now that we've made the case for George Pickens, let's talk brass tacks. What would it actually take to get him in a Cowboys uniform? First, let's be clear. The Steelers aren't going to give him away. They know what they have in Pickens. But they're also not a team that loves drama or distractions. So if Pickens really wants out, and if Dallas comes calling with the right offer, things can move fast. Here's the starting point. A second-round pick. That's the sweet spot. It's high enough to show you're serious, but not so high that it cripples your future. And honestly, for a potential WR1 on a rookie deal, that's a price you can live with. But don't be shocked if Pittsburgh asks for more. Maybe they want a day 2 pick plus a player. Maybe a 2025 second and a conditional third. It really depends on how other teams view Pickens around the league and whether someone else jumps into the race. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dallas does have leverage. They've got players like Jalen Tolbert, Eric Scott Jr., or even one of the backup tight ends that could sweeten the deal. The Steelers love physical football players, and if Dan Quinn had still been there, he'd probably be calling up the front office himself. But even without that connection, the Cowboys have assets that could get this done without giving up a first-rounder. And from a cap standpoint, no issues. Pickens is on year 3 of his rookie contract. That gives the Cowboys at least 2 more years of control before any major decisions need to be made. So here's the question. If the Cowboys offered a second and a fourth, would you pull the trigger? Or would you hold out for someone cheaper or more proven? Vote in the poll and let me know. Yes, trade a second plus fourth for Pickens. No, wait for a better deal. Not interested in Pickens at all. In the final chapter, let's talk about the bigger picture, what this move would mean for the Cowboys' future. So if the Cowboys do pull the trigger on George Pickens, it's not just about adding a talented wide receiver. It's about making a statement. This would be a franchise-shifting move. Not just because Pickens is young, explosive, and exactly what this offense needs, but because it would finally show that the front office is all in on fixing the passing game and giving Dak Prescott a real shot at a Super Bowl. Think about it. If you're lining up CeeDee Lamb on one side and George Pickens on the other, with Brandon Cooks in the slot or rotating, you're forcing defenses to pick their poison. There's no more rolling double coverage to Lamb every snap. No more excuses about separation. No more complaints about not enough weapons. This would also be a major shift in how the Cowboys usually operate. They've been known for sitting back, playing it safe, and hoarding draft picks. But that strategy hasn't gotten them past the divisional round in almost 3 decades. Bringing in Pickens, that would be aggressive. It would be bold. It would be a real signal that Mike McCarthy and the front office are willing to take a risk to make 2025 count. And let's not forget, this also puts pressure on Dak Prescott in the best way possible. No more questions about whether he has the tools. No more excuses about lacking help. If you give him Pickens and Lamb and he still can't deliver, then it's time for a much bigger conversation next offseason. But if he does deliver, then you're talking about one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFC. So let's put it to you straight. Would trading for Pickens be the spark this team needs to finally break through? Or is it just another flashy move that won't fix deeper issues? Drop your take in the comments and tell me how confident you'd feel about the Cowboys' chances if George Pickens joined the star. And hey, if you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe for more Cowboys breakdowns, rumors, and bold predictions, right here on Cowboys News TV.